Former President Bill Clinton joined Texas Congressman Henry Cuellar on the campaign trail Monday. Cuellar, a long-term moderate Democratic South Texas congressman, is facing a stiff challenge from Republican candidate Cassie Garcia. Though he has faced great opposition from progressives in recent cycles, Cuellar has managed to survive increasingly close primary challenges from his left. Cuellar has denounced the Biden administration on issues of the border and undocumented immigration, and has promoted the federal money he's brought to his district. Texas Republicans are increasingly optimistic they can flip South Texas districts, once a stronghold for Democrats. In a June special election in the Texas 34th, Republican Mayra Flores won a longtime Democratic district and became the first Mexican-born congresswoman in House history.
From Guadalupe, from Atascosa, from Webb County, also from Zapata, Stark County, and of course Duval and Jim Hogg. To all of y'all, thank you for being here with us today. God bless you. God bless all of y'all. Let me first of all say a few words because I want to hear the president speak. Let me just say anything. If you haven't voted, go vote tomorrow. Yeah. Because we're going to show that Webb County and South Texas is blue. Yeah. Look, you know my story. I am the son of migrant workers, as Martin said a few minutes ago. Where else can you have somebody who went to 1 and 3 years of education, where they just barely knew 1 or 2 words in English, but they worked hard, they raised 8 of us, made $300 a month as migrant workers. Where else can you have where the son of migrant workers can go to Washington, take the oath as the U.S. Congress, but nowhere else but the United States of America? You know the work that I've done? I'll just mention a couple of things because I want to introduce the president. Where did the first CHIP program start in the state of Texas? It started in Laredo. We started the CHIP program to make sure our kids have health insurance. Where did the Texas grant, the largest scholarship in Texas history, start? It was here, called the Texas grant, so our kids could go off to college also. Something about Henry Cisneros. Back when we started off, there was a South Texas border initiative because we did not have the colleges or the funding for colleges or higher ed. We didn't have the PhD. We didn't have the masters. But some of us, including Henry Cisneros, worked with us and we put the money. We built Tammy U. We got UTSA. We got South Texas College. We got kids. We worked together. Thank you, Henry, so much for that. Now, let me say this. Don't forget to vote tomorrow. But it is my honor now to introduce the President of the United States. You're always President. I met President Bill Clinton when I was a state rep, and I saw Richard somewhere around here. Richard over here and Barbara Hopkins over here. March of 1991, we're in the House Appropriations. Senator John Montford brought over, they said, here is a young governor that y'all need to meet. And we met him there. He was the governor of Arkansas. Highly impressed by this governor. And then, you know the history. Murph, Senior, you're over here. some of us over here, we brought the governor over here to La Posada, where he started off the South Texas campaign. And from there, he became the President of the United States. And I've always said, if you want to live like a Republican, vote for a Democrat. Vote for a Democrat. Because if you look at all the things that have been done, and I think Henry Cisneros mentioned, think about everything that's been done by the Democrats. Social Security, Medicare, civil rights, voting rights, Obamacare, the largest historical bipartisan infrastructure bill that provides so much money, again by Democrats, And if you look at what Bill Clinton did, there's Richard Raymond over there. Think about this. The longest economic expansion in American history, Bill Clinton did that. During his time, he created 22 million jobs, more than the prior 12 years. And who was there? Reagan and Bush, more than those 12 years under Republicans. When you look at the highest home ownership in American history, Bill Clinton and Henry Cisneros over here. Money for education, for our teachers, for the retirements, for higher education, the largest investments that we have seen at that time, again under President Bill Clinton. And if you look at the lowest crime rate, in the 23 years before that, it was done under Bill Clinton. This is important because you see all those negative ads, or you go to the border, it's so dangerous, or you go to the border, it's all that. And again, if you look at the latest figures, the murder rate national is 6.9. In Laredo, it's 4.0. Washington, D.C. is about 3 or 4 times more dangerous. I'm not talking about the politics, I'm talking about the crime rate. Maybe the politics also, but the crime rate. But the reason that I mention that is because through all the law enforcement that we have here, the sheriffs, the police, the Border Patrol, the OFO, that means the men and women in blue, the other officials that we have here, the constables, again, they do a great job, and let's thank them for the work that they've done. The reason I mentioned the crime rate is because in 1994, there was a program that got started under Bill Clinton called the COPS program. And if you recall, he talked about putting 100,000 officers on the street. And he did that in war. Here in Laredo, as an example, 54 of the police officers that we have, more than 10% came from the COPS program, including the chief of the Laredo Police COPS program, and we say thank you so much, President Clinton, for that. Now, you know me, I'm a moderate, so I look at deficits and I look at budget surplus and all that. Because again, we put the money in the private investments. We got to make sure we put it in the right place. Healthcare, education, transportation, that's what the president did. But one of the things that if you look at, which is very important, there were deficits. Some of the largest deficits when he came in as president. And what happened was he turned that deficit into the largest surplus that we have seen. And that was President Clinton that did that. And in 2001, after he left, the Republicans controlled the House, the Senate, and the presidency. And guess what? That surplus disappeared, and the deficits came back under the Republicans. And if they would have followed what President Clinton would have done by 2008, 2009, we would have had a surplus across and not a deficit. So again, it does make a difference who you elect. And I'll finish with this. I know some of you have heard this before. You've heard the policies of the Democrats. You heard the policies of Bill Clinton. It is just like driving a car. If you want to move forward with the policies of the Democratic Party, you look at that. If you want to look at the policies of the past, the failed policies of the Republicans, you look at that. So it's just like driving a car. If you want to move forward, you put it in D and not R going back. So again, ladies and gentlemen, the norm is put it in D. Let's put it in D, vote for the Democrats. And I want to give President Bill Clinton a South Texas Laredo. Bienvenido a Laredo, Texas.
And the older I get, the more pro-immigration I get, because because our birth rate is below replacement level. And unless you think artificial intelligence is going to take care of everything, which I hope to goodness is not, we need that. But we need an ordered, legal way of continuing to ensure the flow of vital elements into our national bloodstream. And people need to be treated with dignity, too.
Amen.
I don't care how many votes were in it. We never should have allowed children to be separated from their parents. But now, actually, thanks to people like Henry, there is a serious effort being made in the Congress to try to set up an adequate system all up and down the Rio Grande that will give people the chance to live and eat and sleep and get health care in dignity, but also be properly processed and investigated to see if they should come in. It's not rocket science. You got to pay for it. And our friends in the other party who talk about this all the time, they actually didn't want that. And that brings me to what I came to talk about. Oh, they talked up. But when it came to coming up with the money to fix a system that would enable us to follow the law, which you all know what it is, if people have a reasonable belief that they and their family are in danger because of what is going on where they live, they can be considered early to sort of jump the line. If they want to stick to the American dream like so many of your families did, that's fine, but they got to stand in line with everybody else that wants to change the American dream, and the Congress is supposed to respond by an appropriate level of annual immigration. But nobody wants to talk about it like this. Everybody wants to make it bad. And it's the same thing with inflation. You listen to Republicans, what they're really saying in this election. You have got to vote for us. Because otherwise, how are you going to protest the cost of living and every other problem in the world? Just protest. And that's what we always do at midterm, isn't it? Well, it might be, but it's not necessarily what we should do now. We've already heard from the sheriff, taking up for his brother, and from Henry, and from the Congress. There have been 4 big bills passed in the last 2 years since you re-elected Henry the last time. 4. One was the rescue bill, when the country was flat on its back, small businesses were closing, people were losing their homes. Nobody knew what was going to happen. That rescue bill helped keep small businesses open, keep the commercial pipeline running. And it was government spending, and we needed it because there was nothing else to replace it. He voted for it. 0 Republicans voted for it. When they needed our help, when President Trump was in office, to do more or less the same thing, in the first big rush of COVID, we did help. That's the difference in us and them. They think there's one set of rules for them and another set for everybody else. We believe